Welcome to the Town of Deerfield Select Board Board of Health Sewer Commissioners meeting for October 8th, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting on Zoom and in the main meeting room at 8 Conway Street, South Deerfield. This meeting will be held in a hybrid fashion with the opportunity for both in-person attendance and remote participation. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. The meeting will be held in person and in the main meeting room of Deerfield Municipal Offices. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. So I'll call the meeting to order. Let's see, we have public comment. If anyone has any comment, please come up and state your name and speak right into the mic if you could. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I came to the last meeting. My name is George Fenn on
Yes, George.
Local Power. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, how are you? Welcome back.
I realize now that I sent the requested information to Tim Hilchey. My apologies instead of Christopher Dunn, but I was wondering if there are any additional questions or if you had come to any decision about whether you'd like a presentation.
Haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
So
Either have I.
letting us know.
Yeah.
Maybe it came,
Absolutely.
but maybe you don't see it yet either.
What was your email address?
Oh, it's george@localpower.com.
Waste disposal.
There it is. Sure. Yeah, if you want to, we've got a quick description of what you're talking about.
Sure, yeah. So we are aware that landfills have ceased to be a solution, town landfills, and so now that the solid waste, municipal solid waste, is commonly being sent out of town, out of state as an expense, too often to a small number of landfills, small number of sites, small number of haulers to choose from. And then sewage, at the last meeting you mentioned, was a big expense.
Huge.
And we have been concerned. We initially became interested in this problem with the sort of discoveries around PFAS.
Yes.
And so we found this technology which converts waste and sewage to hydrogen and a variety of sort of carbon sequestration products, such as limestone and graphite. And we're interested in building a facility here. It's relatively novel. It should have very low to almost no air emissions, given the particular process that it uses. And so we are looking for letters of interest from towns. Come presenting to different towns. We've presented to, I think, 6. We have letters of interest from 3, Worthington, Goshen, and Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And seek a few more. And that would then allow us to create to then find a site, and because we would have enough sort of supply,
Sure.
and then do a project assessment for that site, which would then, if it were positive, would begin a regulatory process for actually building one of these.
Sure. Well, thank you. Did you found the info?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll forward it on to Christopher. We'll all take a look at it and maybe invite you back for a presentation.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you for the good work. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Is your information on that email so we can get a hold of you? If we-
Yeah, okay, great.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Any other public comment? I don't see any online. Nobody else in the audience for public. Okay, so we have no hearings or appearances tonight. We have select board announcements. Tim, do you want to talk about the 1888?
Yeah, so again, we are having a groundbreaking ceremony on Friday at 11 o'clock at the 1888 building right next door. We will have our representatives from Markey's office and Natalie Blay and
Great.
And Congressman McGovern's
McGovern,
office as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And it'll be a short but happy, sunny ceremony.
Yeah.
And people be able to get a look at the progress that's been made so far.
That's great.
And yeah, and
Perfect. Yeah, Friday looks wonderful. Beautiful sunny day. Anybody else have any other comments from the select board or any other board? You have anything you want to talk about?
Well, I went to the FCAT open house and
Oh,
to the Comcast meeting as well, and I got a pretty good education because the FCAT people brought in the students from Frontier that were working with them, and you've got kids that have gone through through college and are now doing it professionally,
yeah,
and there
Great
must have
program.
been, I'd say, close to a dozen people that stood up to attest to the program. I think it's a great program now. I spent a lot of time afterwards talking and getting to understand what they do more.
Yeah,
So, and Comcast was there, obviously, they weren't speaking, but she was writing a lot of stuff down. So I think they've got a
Wonderful.
good kickoff, and I guess that's one of the things you got to deal with tonight anyway, so.
great. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. FERCog does, FCAT does an amazing job. I think back of when Chris Collins ran it, and now John's doing his work, and just a great group of people coming and bringing town government to the people, along with many other things through the school and all.
The
So,
big thing is their dedication to doing it
Yeah.
is pretty amazing.
it's awesome. Yep, very good. So, yeah, that's great.
and who actually is our town representative? I heard it was maybe a Catholic priest from out of town.
Not the Catholic priest. Well, yeah, I guess he is a Catholic priest. but
And I don't
he's-
think he lives in town, so
It's,
we might need to.
I met him last night, but I can't remember his father. He's still here at the church,
Right,
but he lives in Chicopee, so
right.
he's not around
He's
there.
not a
So
resident.
Jonathan was looking for me to take his spot, and I said, Jonathan, if you want me to come to the meetings for a while, I'll do it until you can find somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we should put some,
feelers out.
absolutely, yeah, we need somebody local to.
Right,
to
but we also
represent
need
that.
somebody that's got a little bit
Yeah,
of that background
sure.
in there too, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Well, I studied film at NYU, but I'm not going to volunteer.
You've got enough on your plate?
And
Great.
the other thing, I'm going to be out of town for a couple of weeks, so
Yep.
As the whole idea of budgets come up,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to encourage everyone to be thinking lean.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
Because there's so much uncertainty on the federal level that we don't know what's going to happen on the state level. And I'd rather have Deerfield be in a place of,
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, conservative fiscal policy.
It's served us well for the last 10 years, so we really,
Absolutely. So,
I know the public thinks we just blow all the money, but we only spend what you authorize. But truly, every time, I think of back when Carolyn was, teaching me budget, and when I first got on, we always talked about, and Brenda as well, we budget conservatively.
Yep.
We look at, local receipts, and we don't kind of max that out. We want to just make sure that we have enough to cover that budget, but, and anything else that comes in is nice. It just allows us to have a little more free cash or cover some other shortfall that shows up in the middle of the year. So the goal is to definitely be fiscally conservative. So we're getting going pretty soon on that stuff.
yeah, and with the healthcare situation being what it is,
Mm-hmm.
we're maybe going to be in a good position because we haven't filled all the positions in the various departments
Yep.
to have some spare money to put toward
Yeah.
these big increases, but
Yep.
we're going to be building them into next year's budget.
Yep.
So,
For sure, we have to. Yep. Okay. I guess I don't have any comments, I don't think, at the moment. So, we've just been meeting with Christopher and others, looking over sewer regulations and looking at sewer stuff. We'll talk a little bit about here too. So minutes, anybody want to make a motion for minutes?
move that we approve the October 1st, 2025 minutes with the addition of Mr. McDaniel's name in one place, which I've mentioned to the town administrator. and the October 1, 2025 executive session minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilge, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great, thank you very much. Any Board of Health comments? It's nice, we got a little rain, but it's been nice and dry. Mosquitoes are on the down low. Feel like we're in good shape at the moment. Anything from Ned, or has he mentioned anything? He's back.
No, he's about to be doing his barn inspections once
Yep.
again. So he's been driving around,
Great.
checking in on the farm animals.
Sounds
So,
good.
Yeah. So we should be seeing a lighthearted letter from him once again pretty shortly.
Very nice, very nice, good.
You could
I
have some
think he-
fun on that, Alien. You could have some fun going on the barn tours with.
Yes.
I think Bob went up with him on one today. I saw them
Yeah.
both in the truck.
Oh,
So I think he was teaching Bob how to do an inspection of a barn.
Sounds good. Checking out all the animals. Okay, so discussion items. We have a fairly light schedule today, so we'll roll through these. We have to review the draft sewer rate and set the rate hearing. Hearing we're going to set for 6 p.m. on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. So, as I said, we all met with DPC. Was it yesterday? It feels like.
I know it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah,
I think it was
feels like
Tuesday, yeah.
yesterday. Yesterday about, we contract with our engineers to kind of help us review what projects we have, what we've done, kind of the revenue we've taken in. They work a lot with our accountant and our treasurer, Sarah, to kind of figure out, what the billings were. They go over what our budget is, and then we have to try and kind of come up with what we need to set the rate for next year for 2026. And again, it's kind of confusing because we bill twice a year and we kind of set the rate in the fall, and but we set our budget like 6 months ago, so it's a little confusing. You kind of anticipate a little bit what your usage is going to be, but you don't really know until you're later in the year. So sometimes we have to catch up to what we have. And this year was a kind of a little odd because we've had, we wait a lot we wait some time for the water readings to get to us. So we're kind of sometimes late getting the sewer bill out. And then so we may not collect all of that money in our fiscal year, which was the case this year because the bills went out so late. So there is still money that came in but is on 2026's. So it looks like we're a little short, but we do have more money coming in than we had anticipated. And then we budget, again, we're talking about conservatively budgeting. We budget based on water usage. We budgeted on 74 million gallons, 74 million gallons, roughly, of usage. And we actually had about 77 million. So, again, setting the rates here, we thought we'd use that lower number to be conservative again. And we think that 77 was a bit of an outlier, but we don't, again, not really sure until we get the readings later on in November. So, and then we have retained earnings, which is a little light right now. It's around just under $1 million. We'd like to see that around 1.3. And again, with that extra money, it's probably around there that would come in. It just didn't get posted to this year because the year had closed. And then we look at our service fee, which is our per annual billing cycle. So each bill that comes out, we have a service fee, which is $150, and then we have a minimum usage fee. So each year, if somebody just, some person single lives in a home and doesn't do a lot of watering and not a lot of use, there's a minimum charge of $100. And then we have our rate, our sewer usage rate per 1,000 gallons of usage. And for 2025, that was $23 or 23. So you take 23 times however many thousand gallons you use, that works out to your sewer bill on top of your two service fees. So what this sheet is here, and we can post this after, is we look at our approved FY '26 expense budget. We had salaries of $485,496. We have operating expenses of $766,800. We have a debt service of $819,822, and that's a little high. It's going to be less next year because as we were closing out our loan and kind of getting everything ready after we completed the project in South Deerfield, we are paying 18 months of interest where normally we'd be paying 12. So this is a little higher debt service than we normally would have. And then we have indirect costs of 86,500. That's just every enterprise fund or every other division in town, like SCEMS, also pays this, or our senior center does as well. These are just, it's indirect costs for the lawyers, costs for using town hall staff. It's all of that kind of thing. So every department has a indirect cost, or most entities that are outside the general budget have a indirect cost. And then we have an operational reserve of 41,000, and that's really dictated by our USDA loan, that they wanted to make sure that we had money always set aside if something broke down. They wanted to make sure that their investment in our town, when we did the project, that we always had money to repair items. So that's just kind of something that we always have on the side. So that's a operational reserve. And then the total expenses is $2,199,618. And then we have the revenues that come in. We had a user fees of $2,094,618. We use 100,000 of retained earnings, and then we have investment income of $5,000. So that, again, those balance, your expenses and your revenues balance. So if we needed to, we have a budget of $2,207,137 to, if we keep the service fees the same as last year, which we adjusted, and we keep the minimum usage fee, also we adjusted the same, to reach that number of $2,207,137, we would need to set the rate at 25.96, so almost around $26 instead of $23, and that's about a 12.9% increase year over year. Some things to think about. We could talk about what we want to do. Again, we were conservative in our usage at 74 million gallons. We could adjust that a little bit. It would take DPC some time to kind of run those numbers, but that's one area that we could do to reduce the amount that we would increase. And then again, we're going to have more retained earnings. We could use some of that instead. It won't make a huge difference, but so there, and then we can see what the numbers come in, what the usage actually is. But before we do any projects, we have one item of capital that in the end of the month, when we have special town meeting, that we are going to purchase a vac truck, which is an item that is about anywhere between $500,000 and $800,000 for a truck, and we're finding one for about $40,000, which is a huge deal out of Maine, that Matthew found. So that's going to be an item that we're going to spend out of retained earnings. Again, it won't affect the rate much at all, but just wanted to say that. Any other projects? We have two items on here that DPC always puts on. What do we want to do for capital next year? The two items are the effluent pipe that's down at the plant out to the river. We need to repair that, but I think that would just be too expensive to kind of put all on the rate right now. And then the other part is we've been looking for the last 4 years to finish out and reline and replace some pipe on Eastern and Cross and Graves. So I think it's really Eastern and Cross. We did some stuff already, and we've paved, but we went out to bid last year on this, and it was too much money. I think it was the time of year we bid. So the plan is to maybe bid again in December. But so that kind of fills it out. Really, it's 12.9% if we do really nothing. It's 16.7% or 26.84 if we rolled in the Eastern and Cross, and then it's like 29.28, 27% increase if we try to do the design work for the effluent pipe. That's not including the pipe, it's just the design. So I'm gonna leave that there. It's a lot I talked about, so just wondered what other people feel about this or want to talk about.
No, not at this time. I think
No.
that when we have the hearing, I'm just looking at
Yeah,
this today.
Yeah, it's
so-
a lot to absorb.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Anything you'd add to that?
No, just that, we'll have this, posted in the newspaper and we'll have the hearing on the November 12th.
Yep.
So that gives the board some time to think this over, get some of those revised numbers you're talking about back from DPC.
Yep.
And then we'll do the rate hearing on the 12th.
Yeah, that sounds great. We can talk more about other options, maybe holding off on some of this to see where we're at later in the year. So, great. Well, that's it. Sorry to be so long-winded, but want to get it all out there. Issuance of a Stillwater Bridge easement acquisition offer letters with order taking on Wednesday, November 12th. You want to touch base on that?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
So if folks will recall, back at annual town meeting, the town meeting authorized the select board to make offers for the easements necessary to make the Stillwater Bridge project happen. They're not a lot of money because they're very small easements. So I think the total was about $2,500 all told, covered out of Chapter 90. And so now we're at the point where we're ready to actually issue those offer letters. So in the next couple of days, we're going to be sending out letters to 7 property owners. And then they have a 30-day period essentially to consider the offer.
Okay.
And then order of taking would occur from the select board, assuming nothing crazy happens, on November 12th. So same day as the rate hearing there.
Great.
I did also just want to highlight 2 other Stillwater items. We're going to be meeting with Great River Hydro tomorrow to talk about having them donate some easements. They had some interest in providing the staging areas for the project. So we're just going to be chatting with Matt Cole and Kerry Sparks from Great River Hydro about that option. And then 2, the legislation that actually will enable the town to undertake the project, exchange some Article 97 land, is up for hearing on Tuesday. So before I think it's I'm forgetting my legislative, committee
Yep.
names, but I think it's State Administration and Oversight, Regulatory Oversight.
Okay.
So there'll be a hearing Tuesday, 1 to 4 p.m. in Boston. I think we're just going to submit some written testimony under my name in
Okay.
support of the bill.
Great.
Rep Blade's office reached out, so just wanted to highlight that is
That's great.
making progress.
That's really great. Yeah, it'd be nice to see that project moving forward. And then really, I guess the main part of our meeting tonight is just to review and approve the warrant for a special town meeting to be held at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, October 29th at Frontier Regional School Auditorium. So I know that you've been working on the warrant, and we could kind of go through those items and see where we're at.
Sure. I'm just going to share my screen here so we
Great.
can see on the big screen there. Oh,
Yep.
there we go.
Okay.
That's working. Yeah, it is great. So first article on here is, basically a placeholder for the South County Senior Center.
Mhm.
We talked about, the possibility of 112 Amherst Road at Sunderland serving that purpose.
Yep.
We talked about this building serving that purpose. So for the moment, what we have on there is 112 Amherst Road. Again, just kind of a placeholder. I think,
Yep.
It's kind of trending that we'll probably have this discussion more around the annual town meeting, I would assume.
Yeah, yes, we're kind of in talks. The Boo is trying to figure out, okay, well, it's too quick to kind of get everything done, and the other towns need to still do stuff. And I know that the owner of 112 did say that they're willing to. They were trying to get something done by end of year for them as their other lease was up, but they said that they understand working municipalities, especially 3, it takes time to kind of do all this, so they're willing to, to give us the time needed, and they've been great to kind of work with and answer questions and trying to be there to, support any of the studies that are going on. So I do think this will probably get passed over. We are going to be having some public presentations about the building and just more just to kind of explain what the senior center does, what our needs are, what we've been doing over the last year or two, what we are hoping to do in the future, whether it's this building, that building, or some other building or other space, but just to try and keep the public involved and let them understand what's happening, especially the seniors who have been so patient and looking for a home, permanent home. So I think it's the 16th of October. We'll be having a presentation at Frontier Regional Auditorium. And there are a couple of others. I want to say the night, I don't have the dates right in front of me, but the week before, I think one will be at the Sunderland Congregational Church and one will be at the Whately Town Hall. I think the one up on, the old town hall across from the Whately Inn. I think that's where the other one's going to be, and more during the day to get people who don't want to drive at night. So I think that'll probably get passed over.
All right, and then Articles 2 and 3 have to do with the health insurance increase from the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. So Article 2 there is just for the town's portion. So that's roughly $75,000, $15,000 of which will come from free cash, and then the remainder, we've got a couple accounts where we've already realized some savings. General highway payroll, just because we did not hire for a couple positions until later in the year. And then recreation director salary, because we transitioned that to a part-time position, and there's still some squish left in both of those budgets, even with these transfers.
Okay.
So Holly and Brenda have confirmed that. And then for Article 3, that's the schools portion of the health insurance. We looked at doing a similar thing, having some operating budget go towards that.
Yeah.
I think we've got 1.5 folk students this year, so there was maybe an opportunity, but it wasn't really going to be a lot. So
Okay.
Brenda and Holly's recommendation there was just to stick with the free cash transfer to cover that cost for the time being.
Okay.
And then Article 4, this was a Finance Committee request to top up capital stabilization. 250,000 is the number that Brenda recommended.
Okay.
Obviously, if the board would prefer, we could just leave it as a blank sum for the moment. But 250,000, the recommendation we got.
And where would that bring the capital stabilization fund?
That would bring it up to over 550,000 at this point. It was somewhere around 100,000 last year. Then we topped it up at annual by 200,000, and then we're adding another 250,000 to it.
I think that's smart. When you have the chance, it makes sense to take advantage of
Right.
it.
I would love to have a description from the accountants about when you use capital stabilization, because obviously it's money there for a purpose. It's to be used under certain conditions.
Correct.
It'd be nice to have some sort of just description of what are the conditions under which you tap capital stabilization.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sure.
Article 5 here is the capital improvement plan.
Mm-hmm.
So on Monday night, it feels like a lifetime ago, but Capital Improvement Planning Committee met and recommended all the projects you see before you. So the police garage architect for $50,000. This is something Chief Pachurik brought before the CIPC last year.
Yep.
And then I think just based on some trends in the construction market, just hoping to get a jump on it, maybe have an architect take a look at it this winter and then see if there's an opportunity to put it out to bid, in spring or summer. Coming out of the SCEMS retained earnings, there's a request for $325,000 ambulance and then $75,000 for 2 loaders. So one of those loaders for this new ambulance, and then I believe SCEMS is still waiting on an ambulance that had been ordered about 2.5 years ago, and that needed a loader as well. So in total, that's $400,000 out of SCEMS retained earnings, which will definitely bring it down a bit. But Chief Sparks made the case that this will allow that department to essentially have an actual vehicle replacement plan and start rotating vehicles. So
And also that, Trevor, they've spending almost 50,000 a year to fix the two that exist. So,
It's amazing. I remember when it was
Yeah.
new.
yeah.
I mean, in 19. And I remember buying the loaders and all that, over the years, as you probably do too. And yeah, it's incredible that time goes by too fast. I just have to
Well,
say.
and they have hard miles on those vehicles,
They
right?
do.
Yeah.
They do.
Um,
Yeah.
And-
Okay.
And then the last four requests on there for DPW. So we got, 55,000 out of free cash for loader repairs. This has
Mhm.
been kind of a perennial request, from DPW to have a new loader up at the transfer station. Matthew Morse, our new DPW super, took a look at it, said, I think we could just maybe repair this thing for a lot less money.
Yeah.
So the committee was happy to support that, $55,000. As you alluded to earlier, Trevor, we had the sewer drain vacuum jetter truck,
Yeah.
also recommended by the CIPC at 38,000. That's out of sewer retained earnings.
Yep.
And then a Ford F-150 for $45,000. This is basically to avoid having to buy a new F-350 for
80 or something. Yeah.
substantially more.
Yep.
So
And-
they're getting that truck from what the supervisor drives around now, and so
They're
they're
going to
gonna,
move that to
they're
a
gonna
plow
move that
truck.
to a plow truck, and then he's gonna be driving something. So
Yeah.
Not only that, it's more economical. to
Absolutely.
Operate as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great move. Yep.
And then lastly on here, the just 50,000 from free cash to get a start on the concrete sidewalk replacement plan. As folks will recall, Matthew got, is contracting, I believe, with Ty and Bond for an inventory of our concrete sidewalks. That work should be completed later this fall, and so he's hoping to just have kind of some starter money to actually start looking at making the replacements that we need to throughout our concrete sidewalk network, so to speak. So all told, 638,000 in capital requests, 200,000 of that out of free cash, and the remainder out of retained earnings for those enterprise funds.
Great. Sounds good.
All right, so those were the main money articles.
Mhm.
Article 6 has to do with the Article 97 protection of what I think most folks call steam mill forest.
Yep.
This is sort of essentially the cliff underneath Pecumtuck Rock, which is already designated town forest. It's town owned. And this article is in keeping with the Open Space Committee's continued efforts just to protect land long-term in the town. So that's what this article
We don't want it to
does.
turn into it like a shanty town. Seeing some of these places where the cliffs are full of houses.
Right, yeah. Well, interestingly, this was called, we have a plan on file where it was called Jacob's Pasture.
Oh,
So
really?
hard to picture as a pasture.
Those
but-
are strong cows. Pasture of
Yeah.
mountain goats.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, it might have been goats.
Could have been.
And I am looking at this article now, and I see there is a little Scrivener's error. So I'll have to correct that. It does. It mentions a Delta Sand and Gravel,
Oh,
but they don't need an easement there. So,
No.
so basically, it would protect the entire parcel and just exempt the existing power line easement that goes through the bottom of that property.
okay.
Christopher, on these
Yes.
projects, is there a chance we get a large map that shows these?
Yeah,
Drive
and then
that
if
we
you
can
want, I
put-
can even pull one up right now.
No, I'm talking about
At the meeting.
at
Oh, at the
town
meeting,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
when they
People can
walk
see.
in, people get to see where it is and how it's situated and located, because people are walking in going,
What's
Where are we
that?
talking about?
Yeah.
I know. I know
Okay.
it's sometimes in town hall, I'm so used to looking at these things, or Alex and I are so used to
It's
looking at
online.
it, we don't even realize. Yeah, most people don't look at the world that way.
That's
every
right.
day.
With all these
Yeah,
topographical.
no, it's a good
things.
thought, Blake. Yeah, we should make that happen.
Yeah.
And then Article 7, this is another Stillwater related item. Essentially, when we got the survey for the Article 97 mitigation parcel done, so this is the parcel of land the town owns on the Deerfield River, off of Mill Village Road. The surveyor just identified that there was some encroachment from a nearby farmer on the property. This essentially just gives them an easement. We're not concerned about their farm road crossing our property, and
Right.
he just recommended that we actually, put it in writing essentially.
That makes sense. Okay.
And then two other Stillwater related items. First is Article 8. Currently we have a dike easement across property that neighbors the mitigation parcel. That dike easement possibly was never used. We're not sure, but it certainly has not been in use for a long, long time.
Right.
And so, this first article just extinguishes that easement and basically in its place asks for an easement from the property owner to pass and repass and access that mitigation parcel. I'll mention that these were two, I know we had talked about with the board before, whether or not we want to even bother. And just talking to Lisa about it, she basically said, we're still talking to MDR, who basically, is involved in this conversation because there's an APR on that property.
Yep.
And DCR because they were, the holders of the conservation restriction on the other property that made it Article 97 land. And if you just go through with this, you're just authorizing the select board to take action. So depending on what happens with those conversations, we can take action or not.
Okay.
So just those are, in a sense, they're not placeholders, but there's nothing there that we'd have to take immediate action on.
Great.
So
Good.
so those are the Stillwater Bridge items, and then Article 10 has to do with the Elm Street project. So it basically authorizes the select board to acquire easements in the project area. We're very much hoping we won't need to use that, and folks will say, "Yep, happy to give you a right of entry agreement. Go for it." So this is kind of just something to have in our back pocket.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Article 11, I think this is a new one. I think Alex brought this to my attention. I'd forgotten there was something in the works.
I remember they did this.
So,
Yes.
so DEDIC updated their economic development plan. I
Right.
think we included a copy in the board's packet for tonight.
Yeah.
Essentially the updated plan just mentions a few small changes that have occurred at the industrial park. 2 parcels that I think were previously labeled undevelopable are developable now. And it just mentions a few next steps that the town could take.
I don't think we have it in our packet.
Oh, you
That's
don't?
fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
We'll make sure it's in the packet for town meeting, so to speak.
Sounds good.
It basically, just says that, we should have an updated economic development plan for the whole town, which of course would be part of a master plan that I know Alex and Denise have been talking about.
Great.
And there's a few other small updates, but it's essentially the same document we did 10 years ago with those minor updates.
Okay.
So this is just a statutory requirement for an economic development industrial corporation like DEDIC.
Yep. That's good.
All right, then Article 12, tax title payment agreements. Again, we tried to do this last time, didn't
Yep.
quite work, so we're just doing it again.
Fine.
And then Article 13, this is the update to the time and date of town meeting.
Oh, right.
So I think
Second Monday in May.
we kind of punted on this one last time, but again, Julie went out, did a survey. We got a whole bunch of responses, and then it sounded like the consensus was 6 p.m. and second Monday in May for town meeting. I will say I brought it up with Lisa, and she was not happy, but.
Oh, really? Oh, because
She's
like ours is early.
Yeah,
And then that's like in her
She
busy
said,
time.
she said, no, you can't do it.
What did they? Dan,
I think Dan
Oh, I think you
wanted
wait,
to
I
see if
did
we
read
could
that.
maybe have like a committee explore it.
Yeah. Yep.
Cassie, I think, had a similar thought. So it's,
This may change. Yeah.
yeah. So we could leave it on there, do it, pass it over, whatever you want
Right.
to do. So
Was
it'll
it Julie
generate-
on tonight?
It'll
I bet Julie's on there. We could
Yeah, she
see.
is.
Here, let me stop
it'll
screen share really
generate
quick.
conversation, if anything.
Julie, are you
She
checking
might
on the
be-
cows?
She might be checking on the cows again. The Wednesday ritual.
I am not checking on cows.
They are fed.
Counting sheep.
Did
And I'm
you-
not either. But
So I guess you'll probably talk about this article. You have a meeting coming up soon, right? Or is it next week or?
week, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay.
Um,
And then you'll
we're
kind of
doing-
go over this and flush out more discussion on this one too. I think it makes sense to keep on here and
Yes.
post it so we can have discussion. We can do it if everybody thinks it makes sense.
Yeah, so the argument in favor of moving it later is that it just gives us, like, from my finance committee perspective, is it gives us more time to get the budget together and get more information from the state, more information from the schools. It just gives us more time
Yeah.
to put that budget together. So that's pretty much the entire argument for pushing it later. We did the survey. We had 177 responses, which is a pretty small number compared to 4,000 registered voters. It's somewhere around 4,000. And so that was kind of Dan Graves, the moderator's opinion, and the town clerk's opinion was that we really didn't have a sufficiently robust response to to really make decisions on it. We reached out to, what we didn't do was do like a mailing to the entire town. We
Right.
could do if we wanted to. So
yeah, I think it's worth kind of leaving it on here, posting it,
It's an
It's gonna-
opportunity to let people
it's
know
going to
about
let
it.
people know, more people are going to talk about it. It's even better than a survey. Just get more, a lot of people will see it anyway. So yeah, this makes sense. I'm in favor of moving it forward for all the reasons you state. So, okay. Any other questions? No? All right.
Well, that 177 number is about 50% of the people who usually go to the annual town meeting.
True.
So from that perspective, it's robust.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
yeah, it's about 5% of our, of our voters. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So
Thank you, Julie.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. And then the last three articles are the citizens petitions for energy.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So if if the board feels ready, I think we've got a motion ready for you to basically close the warrant, and then allow the finance committees to still make their recommendations next week before it actually gets posted.
Yeah. Is there a motion somewhere? Oh,
Maybe it's
no,
on your
that's
packet.
okay. I'll just repeat what you said.
Well,
I'll make a motion to close the warrant for special town meeting to take place on October 29th, 6 p.m. 2025 in the Frontier Regional School Auditorium.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Ilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. I can't think of anything else. I know that once it's like posted, I'm gonna go, oh, we should have, but you can't remember everything. So I think this is a healthy warrant, and thank you for your work on it. I know it's a lot to put together, but so I think make a motion to approve posting the warrant as
Second.
presented. Yep. Any further discussion?
Yeah, that's fine.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Ilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great. Thank you. We have board committee applications and appointments and resignations. So we have a letter from John Pachuric Sr. He had sent us a note to resign from the Cable Advisory Committee. So we will regretfully take that resignation and thank him for his work and his dedication to the town of Deerfield for many, many years on many topics. Do you need a vote on that?
Usually we just make a motion accepting that resignation.
Motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Tim Ilchi, aye.
Jumped the gun. And then we have Paul Olszewski said that he would be happy to serve on that committee in his stead. So I'd make a motion to appoint Paul Olszewski to the Tri-Town Cable Franchise Negotiation Committee.
Second.
Any discussion? Thank Paul for stepping in and really appreciate his work on this. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Ilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Great. I don't see any other correspondence. We're whipping through tonight, done in less than 45 minutes. Anything else? Anybody have? Anything you want to touch base on? Pretty good?
Right, unless the board has any questions for me about any projects ongoing?
Nope.
All right.
And this was in our, that just
Yes.
you?
Yeah, that is the capital improvement plan we just discussed. So
Yep.
it includes everything that was approved at town meeting and then also, the updated version
Yep.
that Blake and I ran over.
Great. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Milchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all very much.
Thanks all.
Thank you all.